Welcome to the Simply Sales Podcast. This podcast is where we share and discuss our experiences and ideas in the world of sales. Each week we will provide you with actionable content to help you improve your sales game. We hope you enjoy this episode. Hi everyone and welcome to episode 002 of the Simply Sales Podcast. Before we get into today's episode, I just wanted to personally thank you for taking the time to listen to this podcast. It means the world to me, honestly. I set up the podcast because I wanted to help people and I wanted to help people improve their sales ability and become better salespeople. The sales industry has helped me personally from a place of, leaving school with no qualifications, not really sure what I wanted to do, and I kind of fell into it by accident, but we'll leave that for another day. But the most important thing I just wanted to say was thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this podcast. So on today's episode, we're going to go through the roles and responsibilities of a salesperson. Now, in my opinion, I believe the role of a salesperson is to be a problem solver. You are there to solve your customer's problem, whatever it is. And the way you do that is by selling them a product or service. Now, when most people think of a salesperson, they picture, someone that's potentially lying, cheating, a con artist, perhaps someone who would even sell their own nan to make some money. But honestly, in the last 12 years that I've spent in the industry, those types are far and few between. Most salespeople are genuine. Okay, so what separates great salespeople from the preconceived ideas is that salesperson's intent to help the customer. Now, if you've ever sold anything, you will know that one of the best sales that you've ever done was one of the easiest. Now, the reason behind that is the reason that they were easiest was because your intent was in line with what you were trying to do. You were focused on solving the customer's problem and not your own financial gain. So let me just reword that. So you were trying to help the customer and you put the customer before your own financial gain. So your intent was to help that customer by solving their problem. Guys, sales is very simple. It's so simple. The industries and the old school kind of salespeople, they make it harder for themselves. At the end of the day, as long as your intent is to help the customer and solve their problem, you will be very good at sales. Obviously, there's other things that go into it, but along the basics of it, as long as your intent's in the right place, you will do well. One of the key things that I always found with dealing with my customers is to be honest and transparent with them. They've come to you because they have a problem. They may have done their research online, so they've taken the time to have a look at your products, have a look at your company, and they've established that they think you are the right person to help them solve that problem that they've got. However, they may have selected a product online that they think is the product that's going to fit their problem. Now, your duty and your responsibility and your obligation as a salesperson is to help that customer. And the way you help the customer is by qualifying them. So the key to any form of sales is to understand your customer first. And the qualification is so important. So something that might help you here, if you're not aware of this, and if you're not aware of this, then where have you been living? Under a rock somewhere, is the 5 W's. So you could ask the customer qualifying questions, and that's going to help you to understand who they are and what they do. So the first one is who. So you could ask the customer who's the product for. The next W is what. So what's the product going to do for you? Why are you looking to solve that problem now? When is the next one? So when is the customer looking to purchase, and where? So you can obviously fit those in, but if you ask those open questions with who, what, why, when, and where, I guarantee that will help you to identify what the customer is looking for and the reason behind it. Now, by doing that, that's going to help you to sell the product to the customer because you're going to identify their needs. Remember, you are the expert in your field. You should know more than the customer knows about your product or service. And if you don't, shame on you. And you need to go back and brush up on your sales skills. and product knowledge. For a genuine transaction to take place, there must be a fair exchange. And to do this successfully, you must know your intentions. So let me just repeat that. For a genuine transaction to take place, there must be a fair exchange. And to do this successfully, you must know your intentions. Otherwise, the customer will feel this and then either cancel or complain. They say that reputation is won or lost on the battlefield. And this is definitely one of those scenarios. The customer needs to know that they are getting a fair deal and there is a fair exchange taking place. If it's one-sided, i.e. you're charging the customer twice the amount for the product or service is worth, the customer's not going to buy it and they're going to go away. They're going to tell all their friends how bad of an experience they had, and all of a sudden you've lost. Okay? So, as I've said, there has to be a fair exchange. Well, that rounds up today's episode. I hope you found value from this episode, and if you have, I'd really appreciate it if you could leave me a 5-star review on iTunes. Thank you for tuning in. I hope to see you on the next episode. Until then, continue to level up your sales game.